right, good morning. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Friday. MSTR, yeah, finally played. Camille, you're in the city. All right, have a good time, Camille. Enjoy the beauty. Enjoy the beauty of the. I don't want to say where. Probably everyone knows by now, but what's up, everyone? Happy Friday. You can see the quote of the day. We've added a question mark. Buy the dip now, question mark. Should be an interesting day. We'll see how the market shakes off the after hours downside because of the Canada tariff that was announced. Looks like we still have that overnight macroeconomic risk. Trump reminding us of that last night. Welcome back, guys. Zoom, yeah, it was good. It was enjoyable yesterday, the Zoom. I think today we might be back to business as usual, but yesterday did put me back into the consideration of going back to Zoom. The problem with Zoom is there's really no way to gate, people sharing links and stuff like that, and that's just not fair to the people that, pay for the community. I don't want to devalue that, so we'll find a way. I like Zoom too. I think it's the best streaming platform, really. I guess not streaming, but the best way to share my screen live, basically. The only way to do it on Zoom is to basically have a list of emails that are allowed to register, but that's going to be near impossible. So that's going to be really tough. I would just hope that, one day WAP can get their quality is up to Zoom standards. But, yeah. Never perfect, man. Nothing's ever perfect. I wish it was. I wish I could make it perfect for everyone, but we work with what we got, man. That's what life's all about. Keep working with what you got. All right. Well, it's Friday. I'm excited for the weekend. Got a nice tea time lined up tomorrow morning, so that's very exciting. I cannot wait for that. Going for got to break 90. We got a video coming out soon of some golf content with friends and hopefully with traders in the future. So, I won't say what I shot, but the series is going to be called Desi Breaks 90, and we're not too far off. So hopefully that is something a little bit more lighthearted and fun to watch on the channel. What else? Got some positions overnight that are under some pressure right now, but still very clear looks and some bigger picture ideas that I want to stick with right now. Probably going to have a red day today, to be honest, unless you get some big comeback on some of the swings. Going to try to trade around it today, but also don't want to push it too heavy. Also sort of, just top of my mind, a little bit cautious of chasing the crypto this morning. I think yesterday and the day prior, pretty much all this week, you had plenty of signs to maybe be long crypto. Yesterday into overnight was probably the payoff day. So, just be a little bit careful there today, guys. Just that's on the top of my mind. Wanted to talk about it. It's probably not the right day to just be chasing the shit out of coin and MSTR, to be quite honest. I think the people that are making money right now are probably the ones that were in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even in yesterday, and then, taking profits into end of week. That's probably the right call. We'll see. We'll try to line up some levels today on coin and MSTR. Definitely some opportunities. We talked about them yesterday. If you didn't catch it, sometimes you got to accept it. That's sort of the boat I'm in. I didn't catch it. Might have to accept it today. Chasing that could be really, really treacherous. So let's see what it looks like. Let's make sure we're not doing any chasing. Let's see if there's some opportunities on pullbacks. And, yeah. Alex, appreciate that, brother. Thank you, my friend. Super chat. All right, let's jump in. Let's make it a good session. So, let's pull up the NQ. If you guys could, press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. That would be much appreciated. Let me get situated here. And let's do it. So, today, NASDAQ futures. So, we yesterday pretty much just smacked 23,100 off the open. So, very aggressive downside day to start yesterday. Right off our 23.1. All right, we got smacked right there, 23.1, big rejection, pretty nasty, and just sort of fell straight down. Now, the thing that was interesting yesterday on the NASDAQ versus the ES really didn't fall a whole hell of a lot yesterday with the NQ. So that was a very interesting morning. It was mostly semis, I believe, that were dragging that NASDAQ down. NVIDIA went straight down off the open, and Broadcom went sort of straight down off the open. So I think it was a lot to do with the semis on that NASDAQ weakness versus the ES that really just did not go down at all. I mean, it was basically flat. So sort of interesting there yesterday morning. Definitely sort of hard to read for sure. Like normal, the pullback gets bought up, right? The NASDAQ right at our 22,900 was our key level yesterday, 22,900. That was the exact low of the day, and that was sort of the move that moved higher the rest of the morning. Now, I was comfortable in holding some overnight positions yesterday because you reclaimed the 23,000 level into the close, which I thought was a really nice move and a very nice hold. So you can see right here, into end of day on the NASDAQ, you sort of reclaimed and held above 23,000, which was very important for me, right? You had 23,000 here. I wanted to make sure that the NASDAQ would reclaim that 23K before being confident in the overnight session. But then, you know, just this is what it is, right? This is what happens when you swing trade sometimes. You get hit by this overnight little tariff news coming out in the afternoon, after hour session. So that sort of hurt, right? That caused that sort of panic downside move. But the key thing to understand here, guys, is that that downside move has still not broken key structure. Right, so yes, it was aggressive. Yes, it was, vertically lower, but it did not break our 22.8, which is really our key structure on this market, right? And now we can start to see that the market may just be entering back into a channel and consolidation period, right? That just simply might be what this market has come back to start to do, right? We've seen this before where the market just sort of stays sideways. So pretty much all week, guys, we have gone sideways. Some opportunities, intraday, but if you take Monday and you take Wednesday, you have traded within Monday's lows. You have traded within Monday's lows and Wednesday's highs this entire week. So consolidation, I think, is still pretty valid. A couple, volatility events mixed in, but really it's just sideways. So trying to keep that bigger picture in mind today. Don't want to get any, worked up on anything because nothing really has broken. We shall see today what happens at previous day low and that 22.9. That's going to be very important. Anywhere between 22.9 and 22.8, I think still has potential of being bought up, which you can see here and here, right? Really where this breaks down for me would be a break under 22.8. If we break under 22.8, 22.780, that's where I would say, all right, this might actually need to move lower. If we break under this Monday low, then I think you're probably going to see a move back down into these lows from last week, which is 22.600, right? So that would be the move that you really don't want to see if you're holding anything long right now. That's probably the move that would make me say, all right, time to take my loss and move on for the next move. But for now, still holding this low. This is going to be major this week, or to close this week. You hold above 22.780, 22.8. I really don't think there's much to be concerned about. If you do break that, then yes, I would say there is a need to de-risk because you might be looking for a pullback to that daily 20 SMA, which is back down here towards 22.6, 22.530, right? If we do break below that Monday low, I would say great short opportunities today. Definitely worth watching for if we do get that. But I would say it's going to get really tricky around this 22.9, 22.8 area, right? You can see big buy-ups, right? Getting bought up, right? Previous rejections. This area definitely could get bought up again, right? It got bought up here on Tuesday. It got bought up on Monday, and it could absolutely get bought up again in between this 22.9, 22.8. So a little bit tricky, right? If I would probably not short in here, I would short under Monday's lows, right? Under this Monday low, that would be my short area there. If you want to look for a bounce and fade today, if that's what you're sort of looking for a little lower high, then I think the lower high would have to develop right here. You would have to develop a lower high within the 22,970, 23,000 area, right? You'd want to see these lows reject, this pre-market overnight high reject, right? Something like this would be your bounce and fade idea. Turn this area into rejections. That could be where you see weakness start to step up. That's also where you would want to de-risk longs. If you do long this low, I'd be very careful longing into this zone. If you reclaim 23,000, then that's a pretty decent reclaim today, and that I think would fuel you back to the upside. So, a little bit tricky today, especially with that overnight move. Previous day lows, I think, should definitely be on watch at 22.9. You still got to be careful on shorts down to 22.8. Be careful up into this 23,000 area and the 23,100. All right, pretty clear there. S&P 500 wanted to go over. So we did have 62.90, which I did take off my charts today, but I'll probably just pop it back on. I think 62.90 is important, but I also see a more important level, which I will share with you in a second. Right now it's holding above it, so let's go ahead and put 62.90 back on the charts. I just wanted to show I think the important move here, or the important level here, is actually this 62.75. It's that Wednesday low. So if I zoom out here, this 62.75 spot is actually more important than I originally had. I didn't have this level originally. Did I? I don't think so. I think I made this. Let me make sure. Let me check yesterday's levels. Did I have 75 on here? I don't think so. No, okay. I didn't have 75 on here yesterday, but I did add 75, and I'll show you why I added 75 to my chart here. It is this little low here from last week on Thursday. It's right here on that Friday future session. It's some pretty clear rejections here on Tuesday of this week and Monday of this week, and it's also this very clear Wednesday low. See this little Wednesday, see how Wednesday here, 75 hit and just got bid back up into 63.15? You can see that we're holding that right now, 62.75. So I think that is an important spot. 62.75, definitely somewhere to watch. Below 62.75, you still have major demand here at 62.60. Remember this previous high right here and these lows right here. So even if we break 75, you still got to be really cautious into 62.60, 62.55. Underneath 55 and 60, I think you get a little bit more slip, right? It starts to free up a little bit towards 25. If you get under 25, that's the big short, right? Right here. Under 25, that would give you your daily 20 SMA pullback. And you know what, man? We might still need this, right? You guys know we talk about the market exceeding above the daily 20 and then coming back to the daily 20 and then finding the next opportunity. Right? When you start to exceed over a daily 20, it gets more and more questioned about how strong the holds are and do we still need a pullback to that daily 20? It's possible, right? Especially when you're looking at this 25 low and this here, and then this is exactly where the daily 20 is, right? This area of low volume may need to get filled still. So a little bit cautious on that. I'm a little bit skeptical of really being very, very bullish. If that's still there, I would love if the daily 20 was like right here, right? If this was the daily 20 like this, if we were sort of grinding higher like this on the daily 20, I would feel a whole hell of a lot more confident, right? Just sort of holding that daily 20. But right now, that's a little bit lower, right? We can see that's down here. So we're sort of extended. We're floating. We're floating a little bit, right? Look at the last time the daily 20 got hit. See how the long got initiated off that? Now you're sort of floating. So do you need another one of these? All right. You might, and you probably want to keep that in mind. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you understand that. The next thing I would watch is, can we reclaim and hold above this 62.90 spot, which would be pretty nice. You can see right now, you have reclaimed these highs and these lows. You can see you're trying to hold above it as we speak. You can see right here, 62.90s, trying. It's trying. It's very early. Can't say for sure that's going to hold, but for now it's trying. We shall see. If that does hold, then I would say you could see this come back higher towards this 63.15. If that 62.90 holds, if this 62.75, 62.90 area gets really bought up, then I could see this happening one more time. So something to watch there. We shall see. Yeah, you can't short it. You can't say this looks like a double top in a bullish market, right? You can't just say this is a double top, I'm going to short, and I'm going to short into major lows. It's just, if anything, it's a channel right now, right? It's major lows. This is a double bottom. This is a double top, right? So if you have a double bottom and a double top in a bullish market, I would say you probably want to be a little bit careful just, creating a short idea just because there's a double bottom, right? It's really not an entry point. It's a, you can understand that it's there. I see it as well. That's definitely a nasty rejection. It's definitely clear. But can you really just say, hey, I'm going to short because of that double top? Not really. Where would I short? I would short on a break of a major level, right? I would say, okay, this could be a sign of weakness, but I'm going to short on a break of a major level. That would be right here. Break below this low, this is your short. This is the short opportunity, guys. That's looming right here. That would be the best opportunity on the downside. That is the same exact read as a break under right here. If you break under 780, that is your short opportunity right there. All right, so I would wait for that before you start looking to short something that's pretty strong. All right. So next, SPY 621 looks to be very clear. It's like 621, 622 zone. It's pretty much a zone. I have it as 622, 621. It's definitely getting bought up again. All right, you can see right now the dip is getting bought for now, right? For now. Can't say for sure if it's going to happen intraday, but for now, Wednesday's low, 621, 622 here, right here. That zone is definitely getting bid up again. If we break under 621, we're going to trade back to the 619, 618 zone. Under that, you're going to get a little bit more slippery to 615. Okay? Upside rejections are definitely coming in at that 625, right? We can see here, we can see here, we can see here in the overnight session. 625 definitely starting to get, sort of aggressive. That's a pretty clear failure, and failure right here. So, yeah, a little bit concerning on that. 15-minute chart sort of shows us where that demand keeps stepping in. You can see right here, you have these Wednesday lows, you have these Tuesday highs, and you have this sort of low, yesterday low, and this area stepping up again. So I would say if you break Wednesday's lows at 621 today, you could look for a little bit, right, towards 619. There's a little bit here. Very tight, very careful in there, I'd say, because you're going to sort of face a bunch of, choppy action to be cautious of, maybe something like this, right? So just be careful in there. 619 is definitely a big level below. If I was to be honest, the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm a little bit uninterested in today's action, right? If we hold Wednesday's lows and just fail this 625, well, welcome to your no trade zone, my friends, right? Welcome to chop land. It's right here. This is chop land today. I mean, between, I would say, 62.75 and 63.15 could be pretty ugly. Maybe it presents some nice volatility, though. Maybe. On the NASDAQ, that's pretty much like, it's like 22.8 to 22.970. It's like right in here. Could give you something, but probably pretty ugly. And then on the QQQ, it looks to be like 552 right here, 552 to 555, right? Look at that. That's probably your zone today, right? 552 lows, 555 highs. If you stay in this today, I'd probably stay away from action. If you break over 555, maybe some hot push into the highs. Under 552, back down into 550, right? But this is probably where you don't want to get too aggressive today, right? You don't want to short into these lows, and you don't want to long into these highs, unless you are very precisely channel trading, of course. Joseph, appreciate that. Alfred, thank you, brother. If we zoom out on the Qs, we can see, I would say, as long as you are above this 550, 549, right here, I think you are still in a bullish consolidation right there. Right, this is really just sideways action. Basically, since Wednesday of last week, you have gone nothing but sideways, right? And maybe we have entered a sideways market again, guys. All right, we have done this. Remember this period on the market. Don't forget, right? This was a period in the market that a lot of people had a lot of problems. So you can see right here, this was a very long period of consolidation, and eventually it led to expansion, right? So you can see here, it's very clear. You go here, right? You have a very clear period of consolidation right here that led to expansion, right? Are we back into the consolidation period, right? Because what does the market do? It consolidates, it expands, it consolidates, it expands, it consolidates, it expands, it consolidates, right? It's how the market works. So what you want to be doing, or at least what you're going to attempt to do, is to trade this, this, and this. Not so much this, 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 and this, right? So in my eyes, right, when I'm looking at this, you know, this was a pretty tough time to trade right here. This was a pretty decent time to trade with some nice continuation moves. And it's starting to seem like maybe, just maybe, you're starting to see that next period of consolidation. It's starting to seem that way, just a little bit. I can't say for sure. You're definitely seeing some slowdown. And you're definitely seeing some levels sort of develop, right? You're definitely getting some levels to develop. So 550, 549, these highs right here, 552, 555, 557. Okay. All right. IWM hit our target at 226. We had a very nice 4-hour target here on 226 that hit perfectly. If you guys remember our IWM analysis yesterday, 226 pretty much on the dot, got hit, rejected, 5 cents off. So pretty damn perfect there. You know, I would say some of these previous highs should be on watch. Like 222 looks like a pretty nice spot actually. So right here at 222, if I go, I'm gonna drop this down into the 15-minute. We'll see it a little bit closer. So if we drop this down into the 15, you'll see right here, some of these previous highs are decent holds right now. So here's a low, here's a high, 222, 222, right? Right now it's trying to hold. So it could be a little bit of a watch there at 222 area. Ultimately, I think the best opportunity would be something like this. Back to the 200, back to the daily 20. Not sure you'll get that, but for now, I'd say watch this 222 area. See what happens off that today. Could be interesting off of this Tuesday high, Monday high, and sort of this Wednesday breakout. What did the Dow Jones do? Yeah, Dow Jones. Okay, Dow Jones did it give us a nice 44.8 break and retest yesterday? Let's see. Oh, damn, dude. I love the Dow sometimes. Like, that's sick. 22, look at that 22. Like, we had 22.8 level, right? So you say, hey, I like, yesterday we came into the live stream, we said 22.8 is a big, or sorry, 44.8, my bad. Not 22.8, that'd be 50% off. 44.8 was a big spot, right? Look for the break and retest. We go to the 1 minute, look what happened at 44.8 yesterday. Break, retest, long. Love it. That's sick. That is awesome for a sick trade on the Dow. But today you can see we are failing back under. We are back under, right? Back under that 44.8. And that's a little bit of concern for the Dow. You're back down to looking for a retest of that 44,440 spot. So, yeah, looks like a little bit of weakness there in the Dow. We failed back under 44.8. Did we do a break and retest to the downside as well? Sure as hell did. Look at that. Break, retest. So 44.8 is definitely a level. That's for sure. SMH found its high for the moment. Found its rejection. Found its 288 spot. You can see right here. 288, 288, 288, 288. Very nice rejection. And you can see right here, 284.50, 285. Right? Previous high, low, low, low. If you break under 284.50 today, you're going to trade back to 283. You're going to trade back to 280.50. Nice rejections up at this 288 high. ES short. Yeah, nice little, what is it failing? I need to see what that's failing. So I don't really have anything at the 62.95. Did that reject anything on the NASDAQ? It's a little bit sloppy there. Yeah. 62.95. Yeah, it's not really, it's just sort of chop, man. Yeah, to me, that's just chop. Look at this. I mean, this is, you're trading back in this. This is going to get a little bit dirty today. All right, look at this. This 22,900 on NASDAQ, is basically said, I'm not respecting you at all today, back on Tuesday of last week, right? It was pretty clearly respected prior, and then on Tuesday of last week, it said, nah, I'm not interested. I'm just going to trade around this the whole time. And you can see it was respected again yesterday, but it wasn't respected here. And now this morning, it's just not really that clean. I mean, previous day lows are down here at 22.9. This failure comes in at 22.925. I don't really have anything there, so I think it's just a bunch of really meaningless here right now, at least. Let's see what happens. Looks like it's starting to chop around this level, though. I mean, you are back in, right? Just so you know. I just want to make sure you remember this before we head into today's session. You are back within this chop, right? So you are trading back within this area, right? So right there. So could you expect a bunch of this today to close the week? Yes. I would say the best trade, that's why I had this level taken off, to be honest. I actually might keep it off now that I see that again. This really is, these are really the key levels in my eyes, right? It's here and it's here. Those are really the key levels. It's these highs at 23K and it's these lows at 22.8. And this 200-point range right here looks sort of treacherous to me. Right here and right here. So for me, I would say short under 22.8 today, short at these highs if you're looking for a pop and fade, right? Or look for longs above 23 or possibly a pullback long off 22.8. But I would say your trades need to be set up at these major spots. If you set up a trade in the middle of this channel, right, in the middle of this, I really couldn't tell you what the next direction is. Okay, let's go to some stocks. Tesla, really nice trade yesterday. Just didn't execute it correctly. We had the right idea. The thesis was the gap fill at 312, and man, oh man, did it do just that. But it was very sloppy before it did it. I was trying to trade it off like the 305, 303 area, and then, you know, you just didn't really get your continuation in the morning. You did get a little bear trap, and that bear trap is what set up the long, right? Which is pretty Tesla. It's very Tesla-ish, Tesla-esque, right? That's a Tesla-esque move right there. You have a very clear low that was developed at 303 all day. You fail below it, trap the sellers, and then just rip, right? So that is a very Tesla-esque trade yesterday. Very hard to trade, very hard to catch. Unless maybe you were here after the trap and you said, hey, I like that trap, and I got this. You caught the juice. Shout out ATEC. I think ATEC caught this nicely. But besides that, you know, pretty difficult to manage. You did eventually just get your target move to 312 gap fill. So pretty nice there. If the market gets weak today, this is probably, I'm not going to say for sure, but this is probably just a gap fill reversal, to be honest, right? If the market is weak today, I would say this could possibly be your favorite short to watch today. This would be a gap fill reversal on Tesla. So you have the gap here, you got the gap to fill, right? If the market stays weak today, it's probably going to keep Tesla weak as well. You can see we're rejecting exactly the gap fill level. If this is a gap fill reversal, this could trade back to 303, possibly even back to 295, right? So interesting, right? I'm considering it. We'll have to see what Tesla looks like today. I'm also going to be very cautious because Tesla's been very difficult to trade. I don't think I've had one great Tesla trade this month. So, yeah, a little bit careful on Tesla. That's a nice gap fill idea, gap fill reversal idea. Target would be back to like the 303 lows, possibly the 295. It's a good looking trade. Stop loss would have to be over 312. Something to watch. Gap fill reversals are sometimes nice. You can see the gap. You can see it got filled. If the market's weak, could be nice. Keep an eye on it. Now, on the flip side, break and hold over 312 could sort of get you going again. All right, so let's see. Let's watch both sides. NVIDIA, nice pullback yesterday, right off that 164.50 high. I was sort of cautious of that from yesterday morning, if you guys remember, and I think it was the right call. Was sort of, not easy. It didn't feel really easy about the long above this high just because of what that high is. It's sort of just this vertical move. So that was sort of our caution yesterday, and I think that was a great cautionary read there. Nice pullback yesterday. What a pullback and what a comeback all day, right? It just got bought up again. Holding above this 162.50 level still is interesting. I would say this would be a good short, but after looking at yesterday's action, I can't say for sure it is because I would have thought that this would have failed down to that 161, and you can see this thing just got bought the hell up again, right? And left behind some really bullish wicks on the 30-minute. So, yeah, if we can get under 162.50, then I think you can get your move lower to 161. I like that. I would want that to happen for the next long. All right, I think the next long really is back here after a pullback to like this 160. So I'll probably be waiting for that personally. Could look for the just short under 162.50, but just be careful of the relentless buyers that are still sort of in this market. We'll see how they look today. We'll see if those relentless buyers are gone today. At some point they will disappear, so we'll have to see. AMD, still like this look on AMD. 142 is still very strong. 140, 142 zone, I think, can still be a sort of strong demand zone. It could be back to 140 that it needs, so you could you might need to see a pullback to 140 still. The bid off of 142 yesterday was sick. This was a trade we took yesterday. Really nice trade. Took some profits into the 146 highs. So that was a really nice one yesterday. We had that idea of a pullback long at 142. We got exactly that. Longed it at 140. Longed it a little bit earlier and then took another entry at 142 and got a really nice push into 146. So that was nice. You're still above 142. So this is still interesting, right? You're still above this low from yesterday. Really just consolidation for now. Let's see if it holds the 142. If it does not, back down to 140. But AMD is for sure still a very interesting bullish setup. I mean, you can't really say that this is no longer interesting after one after hours downside move, right? So still very interesting. 140, 142 zone. That's what needs to hold. You fail under 140. Now you can say it's dead, right? You fail back under 140. That's muerto. That's dead. You can't see that. ARM. I think this one still needs some downside. It looks like to me that it needs a pullback to this high right here, right here, right here, right here. 140, 150. Going to be waiting for that. Broadcom. Pullbacks are always longs on this stock, but we'll have to be cautious today about the overall market. Going to be watching. I think a deeper pullback is sort of what I'd like to see at this point. I'd be watching 272, 260. I think 268 is probably the key spot for me. 268, possibly. I mean, if we get this pullback, then we're absolutely looking long. Daily 20 SMA, these lows, that would be an incredible spot if we got that. So keeping an eye on that one. That's really about it. ASML didn't really do anything yesterday. MRVL's boring. TSM sort of boring as well. So that's really it for the semis. Amazon, definitely one of my top watches today. If markets do get sort of a bounce, this thing is incredible. It looks to be holding still very nicely. You can see those lows. You can see those highs, these lows. Still really nice hold here on Amazon, right? You're still really holding well. So interesting. I think it's probably right to wait for 225 to break though, right? You're seeing a very clear high, very clear low, very clear channel. May not want to get involved in the channel yet. If we can get a break over this 225, that might be your all systems go read. I'm going to wait for that. 225. Let's see. Let's see if that happens. Something I'll be watching. Google, I think this is a very interesting setup on Google. This is actually something I'm long with few contracts. Just sort of a, flyer that I have. 3 contracts, took some profits up like 40% yesterday. I just sort of like this wedge that's forming right here off this daily 200, daily 20 SMA. I really think it's quite interesting. You got this low, you got these lows, you got the 200, the daily 20 sitting right here holding this up. You got this little downtrend that's sort of been forming. I think one sort of breakout move, this could really get going in my opinion. Up into these highs at 182.50, which I think is a great target for now. Definitely watching. Interesting, right? This is not a small level that you're holding, right? You're holding these highs, these highs, these highs, right? Turning it into lows, little break, little consolidation, looking for that next leg. Still interested. Slow, needs time, but interested. So that's something I'm watching there. Meta sort of failed yesterday. Still good, but, it's a longer term setup again. So, just sort of consolidation. Nothing really changes here. Same exact setup, same channel, consolidation. Looks like patience is needed for now, my friends. I mean, it's still perfect, right? It's just like Amazon. It's still holding these previous highs. It's still really nice. Still above the daily 20, right? Meta, still above the daily 20. It's just, it's pending, right? It's pending. So, patience. Apple, interesting. Want to see it hold 210 today. I really like this daily chart. I'm really going to try to stay patient on this one, but, we'll see if Apple fails me today. I can't get over this daily chart. I'm really trying to trust it. You got such a beautiful little break above this 206 demand, a nice pullback, a nice reaction to that demand. Daily chart looks incredible. This is a setup that I will, sort of live and die by, and if I die by it, then I die by it. I think it's really nice looking. 215, 215, 215. That's the concern, right? That's probably what's going to, if it does reject, it's 215 that it just says, nope, not interested, and it just fails again, which would be, very interesting to see that happen in such a strong market, but hey, it's possible. For now, I'd like to see Apple just continue to hold this 208, 206 demand for the big picture idea to stay true. In the short term, it's just a lot of consolidation. It looked like it wanted to do that move yesterday. It was definitely interested for that move to start yesterday, but 215 did smack it down again. This 210 spot does look like an important spot. I have some previous lows that have been developed at this 210. If we draw out this 210, this is probably a spot I'd like to see hold today. You can see 210, 210, 210 lows, 210 here again. So going to be watching that a little bit. But yeah, right now, Apple is just sort of consolidating right above that 210, right above these lows right here, right above some of this right here. If we keep going over, I'll show you. So if I keep dragging this over right here, you can see 210 highs, 210 lows, 210 lows, 210 highs, 210 lows, 210 lows, and then there you go again, 210. So interesting, anywhere between this 210, 208, I know there's a lot of demand here. You can see previously it's been bought up heavily, but you're just sort of channeling right now. Sort of scheming, right? You're sort of scheming. This is like a scheme. You're just trying to monitor and trust it. That's pretty much what you had to do with MicroStrategy, right? It was a scheme, it was an idea, and you had to be really patient. And I'm sure a lot of you guys remember us charting this one out, man. MSTR. We've been watching this thing like a hawk the entire of the last pretty much 3 weeks, almost a month, talking about this breakout, right? And it's played. It's been sloppy, but it's played. And yesterday was the payoff day, right? Up into 440. So I'm trying to stay patient on some of these bigger picture ideas because they're really lucrative, but you can't get panicked out of them on a day-to-day basis. That's the problem. So let's see. What else do I want to look at? Netflix sort of died on me. The break and retest failed. Let's see if it can get back over 1260 today. 1260, 1260. It's got to get back above that and reclaim. If not, this is going to reject and move lower. So 1260, big watch there. Datadog for margin. Oh, it's a nice pullback, actually. That was the... Wow. It did the whole pullback. That's crazy. I remember us talking about this on the day it went straight up. We said the best pullback long is 137, 135. Shit. Nice call, margin. I didn't even see this came back to this. Yeah. Look at that. So we had that S&P inclusion. We said pullback long's the right call back at the 135, 137. Look at this. Right back to it. Not bad. Yeah, it could be interesting. Could be interesting here, margin. Let's see if it has a day of hold here, right? You just want to see it start to maintain. Definitely. Let's go to the crypto names. Coinbase, sick move yesterday. It was really over our 382 spot. You guys can see right here, I think the best opportunity moving forward today is going to be a pullback to this previous high. If you can get that, I'd say definitely watch it, right? This would be a great place not to chase it. You wouldn't be really chasing it back at 380, 377. If you can get a pullback to these highs and create a new low, that is a fantastic watch. Definitely keep an eye on that one today. You can see this high. And yesterday, the break and retest was awesome, right? Look at this yesterday hold. Look at yesterday, pre-market high into new lows, right? Look at this. Here's your pre-market high. Here's your intraday high, right? And look at this right here. Beautiful. So that is sick, right? Pre-market high, break and retest, bam, bam, bam. Very nice. If you can get back to that level, you're definitely looking for that opportunity again, man. Definitely. So let's see. MSTR, the key level to break is 441. 441 right here. These are, look at what you're trading back into. So you're trading back into what I would say a very questionable area. Right, anywhere between 441 to like these highs at 450, 350 is a little bit iffy, right? Because you can see what happened the last time it came up into here. Failed, right? So look at where you're trading into right now, right? Right here, sort of concerning. Probably needs a pullback. I would probably want that just for my own well-being before longing here and getting totally just I don't even know the adjective for that. That would really hurt. So I'm probably gonna look away from this one today. I don't want to get all worked up on chasing into that supply. If you get pullbacks, you know, let's see where a pullback could be. I mean, if you get over that level, of course, then you're looking for it, right? No doubt. If you can get over that level, then of course I'd say look for it. Trying to see where I'd like a pullback here. What are some of these highs? 420. 420 reacted all yesterday. We're gonna have to let this develop a little bit. I'd say this for now 415 is the right spot. Right here, 415, 415. I mean, that to me is the right spot for now, but let's see if new levels develop here. For now, I'm going to say 415 just to be super safe. Nice hold of the daily 20, daily 50. Break above this, 415, 415, 392. You get a pullback here, I think that's your go time. Anything else I looked at today? Let's see here. Palantir, 140 pullback. Keep an eye on this one today. 140s holding right now. We'll see if that holds true. Watch the daily 20 again, of course, as always. And then Hood finally did it yesterday. Very, very nice. We talked about this opportunity pretty much every day. The long off these lows, targeting these highs. It did exactly that. That was a beautiful opportunity. I really wanted this 85 pullback, but you know, sometimes you ask for too much. That looks like I did. And today, I mean, damn, man, 99. If you can get a Hood 99 break and retest, it's probably worth watching today, especially if that crypto stays strong. I know Hood gets some juice from it. So I'd say 99, good watch. Pullbacks. Pullbacks inside of a range are sometimes hard to trust. But I'd say like this 95 spot is pretty intriguing, right? Pretty intriguing 95 spot right here. You see these highs, these lows, these lows. I'd say decent watch there. Little 95, see what it does. 90, 95, 99. I would just look for one of these today if you can get it, or a little one of these. All right, let's take a look at the market. So right now you are basically just flirting around with yesterday's lows, 62.75 ES, sort of sloppy to me. The SPY is just sort of wicking around at this 622, 621 zone. That's Wednesday's lows at 621. You're definitely opening at some major lows, just so you know. So here's the something. CRWV, sure, man. Pump, pump. Yeah, nice downside. Breaking under that 150 was pretty major there. Okay. I would say right here is your next demand, 127. But I would also make sure you know CRWV is sort of on like on the back end of a strong move, right? This was like a pretty big head and shoulder. I'd give this one some time. I'd say let this show you a day, man. 120 before buying this dip. 127, 115 area. I'd probably let this show me a couple days before getting involved, pump. But yeah, 127, 115, maybe that 50 SMA below. Here's my last thing, right? Today, so there's two outcomes of today. Okay, there's two ways to think about it. If the trend on the market continues, right? If today's not like the big switch up, which it could be, right? There could be like that big switch up day where, you know, the buy the dip no longer works and everything just sort of falls to shit, and it's the big switch up, right? If it's that case, then you're going lower, okay? Simply put. You're going to break some of these demands, you're going to go up. Now, here's something you need to think about. If that does not change, if it is still the buy the dip market, pullbacks get bought up like crazy, opening at a previous day low is not the spot to short, okay? This is something to be very, very aware of, right? If you are opening at a previous day low or near a previous day low, right, such as the SPY here, right around this Wednesday low, right around like this overnight low here, if you are opening near that level and the market goes back into buy the dip mode, you are going to be burned as hell trying to short into those lows. So please be careful of that. I can't tell you what today holds, right? I can't tell the future. But if the current market trend continues, which is probably a higher likelihood of it changing, shorting lows is disgusting. Do not do it. Be very careful doing that. Just because the market's down in the pre-market does not mean that you are going to have a 4% red day. Could it happen? Yes. Because there's definitely some froth. There's definitely some buyers that are probably getting a little, interested in selling. So that is possible. I think that is looming. Could it be today? Yes, it could. I don't know for sure. But that does not, you can't just say, I'm going to start shorting into lows. Okay? Because that has been the absolute last thing you want to be doing in this market. Okay? All right. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Press that like button if today helped you sort of game plan for the day. Subscribe to the channel. If you guys could, make sure to press the like button. I just said that, but I'll say it again. What are we at for likes? 21,000, 1050. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for the donations today. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Get out on the golf course this weekend. Go enjoy your weekend, man. Man, this month has been up and down for me. I think I'm like barely green for the month right now. I've hit like some nice wins. I've taken some losses. I think I'm up like 10, 15K for the month. It's been a little bit slow. I've had some nice big trades. Like Circle was a big trade. Gave it back on Tesla. So it's just been like back and forth. So let's see. Let's see if we can get some footing behind our month. So far, just showing up every day, man. That's all you got to do. Show up every day. Keep showing up. We'll hit a good one. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys next week. Peace and love.